Welcome to CBTV.
Chapter 4 Impermanence. Now eat a 10. Thanks to impermanence, everything is possible. There are turtles that live to be 300 or 400 years old and redwood trees that live more than 1,000 years. Our own lifespan is only about 100 years at most. How are we living those years? Are we making the most of our days? What are we here to realize or to accomplish? Later, we may look back and wonder, what have I done with my life? Time goes by so quickly. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? To wait until tomorrow is too late. Or we want to live deeply so our lives are not wasted, and when death comes, we won't have any regrets. When we are fully established in the present moment, we know that we are alive, and that's a miracle to be alive. The past has gone and the future has not come yet. This, this is the only moment where we can be alive and we have it. We have to make this present moment into the most wonderful moment of our life. Contemplating impermanence helps us touch freedom and happiness in the present moment. It helps us see reality as it is, so we can embrace change, face our fears, and cherish what we have. When we can see the impermanent nature of a flower, a apple, the person we love, our own body, our pain and sorrow, or even a situation, we can make a breakthrough into the heart of reality. Impermanence is something wonderful. If things were not impermanent, life would not be possible. A seed would never become a plant of corn. The child couldn't grow into a young adult. There could never be healing and transformation. We could never realize our dreams. So impermanence is very important for life. Thanks to impermanence, everything is possible. We'll see, we'll see. There are no stories from China about Mr. Li, rural villagers whose livelihood depended on his horse. One day his horse ran away and all his neighbors took pity on him. How unlucky you are! What misfortune! But Mr. Li was not anxious. We'll see, he said, we'll see. A few days later his horse returned, bringing several wild horses back with it. Mr. Li and his family were suddenly very wealthy. How lucky you are! Exclaimed the other villagers. We'll see, replied Mr. Li. We'll see. Then one day his only son was training one of the new wild horses, and he fell up and broke his leg. What misfortune! Declared the neighbors again. We'll see, said Mr. Li. We'll see. A few weeks later, the imperial army passed through the village to conscript all able-bodied young men into the military. They did not take away Mr. Li's son, who was still recovering from his broken leg. How lucky you are, said his neighbors again. We'll see, replied Mr. Li. We'll see. Impermanence is just as capable of bringing about happiness as it is of bringing about suffering. Impermanence is not bad news. Because of impermanence, despotic regimes are subject to fall. Because of impermanence, illness can be cured. Thanks to impermanence, we can enjoy the wonder of the four beautiful seasons. Thanks to impermanence, everything can change and transform in a more positive direction. There were times during the war in Vietnam when it seemed the violence would never end. Our team of young social workers labored tirelessly to rebuild village that has been destroyed by bomb. So many people lost their homes. There was one village near the demilitarized zone that we had to rebuild not only one but two and even three times after repeated bombings. The young people asked, should we rebuild or should we give up? Luckily, we were wise enough not to give up. To give up would be to give up on hope. I remember that about this time a group of young people came to me and asked, "The teacher, do you think the war will end soon?" At that point, I could not see any sign of the war ending, but I did not want us to drown in despair. I stayed silent for some time. Finally, I said, "Dear friends, the Buddha said that everything is impermanent. The war has to end one day. The question is what we can do to accelerate the impermanence. There are always things we can do each day to help the situation." The power of insight. We may agree with the truth of impermanence, and yet we still behave as though everything is permanent. And that is the problem. This is what prevents us from taking the opportunities available to us right now to act to change the situation or to bring happiness to ourselves and others. With the insight of impermanence, you won't wait. You'll do everything you can to make a difference, to make the people you love happy, and to live the kind of life you would like to live. The Buddha offered the contemplation on impermanence not for us to treasure as a notion, but for us to get the insight of impermanence by applying it to our daily life. There's a difference between a notion and an insight. Say we strike a match to get a flame. As soon as the flame manifests, it begins to consume the match. The notion of impermanence is like a match, and the insight of impermanence is like the flame. As the flame manifests, it consumes the match, which we don't need anymore. What we need is the flame, not the match. We are making use of the notion of impermanence to get the insight of impermanence. We can make the insight of impermanence into a living insight that is with us in every moment. The insight of impermanence has a power to liberate us. Suppose someone you love has just said something that has made you angry, and you want to punish them by saying something unkind back. He has dared to make you suffer, and you want to lash back and make him suffer too. You are about to start an argument, but then you remember to close your eyes and contemplate impermanence. You imagine your beloved. 300 years from now, he will be nothing but ash. It may not take 300 years, perhaps within 30 or 50 years, you will both be ash. You suddenly realize how foolish it is to be angry and to argue with each other. Life is so precious. It takes only a few seconds of concentration to recognize and touch your nature of impermanence. The insight of impermanence burns away the anger. And when you open your eyes, you don't want to argue anymore. You just want to hold him in your arms. Your anger has transformed into love. Living in the light of impermanence. Many of people I have loved in the world, my family members and close friends, have already passed away. But I can still breathe in a miracle, and I know that I breathe for them. Every day when I get up, I stretch my body and do some gentle morning exercises, which brings me a lot of happiness. I don't exercise to get fit or be healthier. I do it to enjoy being alive. The happiness and joy of practicing mindful movements nourishes my body and mind. With each movement I do, I feel how wonderful it is that I can still do it. Exercising like this, I enjoy having a body, I enjoy being alive. I accept life and my body just as it is, and I feel so much gratitude. Even as we age and experience ill health or pain, we can still profit from the moments when the pain is not too strong. If you can still breathe, it's possible to enjoy your breathing. If you can still walk, it's possible to enjoy your walking. If you can get in touch with the elements of peace and freshness within you and around you, your body and mind will benefit, and it will help you embrace the difficulties and pain in your body. You may fear dying, and yet we might find it hard to imagine growing old. We cannot believe that one day we might not be able to walk or stand. If we are lucky, one day we'll be old enough to sit in a wheelchair. Contemplating this, we value every step and know that in the future it will not be like this. It will be like it is now. Recognizing impermanence allows us to cherish the day and hours that are given to us. It helps us value our body, our loved ones, and all the conditions that we have for happiness in this moment. We can be at peace knowing we are living our life to the fullest. Breathe, you are life. I treasure the days and hours I have left to live. They're so precious. I vow not to waste a single one. I have been practicing not wasting a single moment, whether I'm walking or walking, teaching or reading, drinking tea or eating a meal with my community. I treasure every moment. I have been living every breath, every step, and every action deeply. Whenever I walk, I combine these words with each step. As I breathe in, I say, breathing legendary breaths. And as I breathe out, I say, living legendary moments, wonderful moments. Happiness is there at every step, and I know that tomorrow I will have no regrets. Breathing is a kind of celebration, celebrating the fact of being alive, still alive. Facing silent fears. Often, the joy of knowing that we're still alive contains within it the deep fears that we don't want to face, our fears of dying. Although we don't want to admit or think about it, deep down in our heart we know that one day we will die. The day will come when we will be laid out, our bodies stiff. We will no longer be able to breathe. We will no longer be able to think. We will no longer have any emotional feelings, and our bodies will begin to decompose. We may be uneasy every time we think about death. Unease, yeah. We may have a tendency to brush it aside. We may be in denial. These fears may be silently haunting us, driving us thoughts, words, and action without us knowing it. Maintaining awareness in our daily life of our eight different bodies help us transform our deeply rooted fears of dying. We see that our physical body is just a tiny part of who you are, and we see all the many ways in which we are being continued. We should not be in denial about our physical body's impermanence. Keeping this awareness alive in our daily life can help us see clearly how to make good use of the time we still have. The Buddha taught the five remembrances, a contemplation to recite at the end of every day, as an exercise to lessen our fear of death and remind us of the preciousness of life. Practice the five remembrances. You may like to take a moment to read these lines very slowly with a pause to follow your breathing and relax between each remembrance. I am of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There's no way to escape ill health. I am the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone. I love are of the nature to change. There's no way to escape being separate from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my action. They are the ground upon which I stand. To see the intimate dimension of reality, we have to look deeply into the historical dimension, the dimension in which we're living. The five remembrances help us understand the relative truth of death. Our bodies thus experience aging, ill health, and death, but we also have our cosmic body, and it's very important to remember that. And the more we look with the insight of silenceness, the more we see that transformation is a much better word than death. As we contemplate impermanence and no self with the fourth remembrance, we start to touch the deeper level of reality, the ultimate truth beyond size. Although death may seem to separate us from those we love, looking deeply, we can see that they all always continue to be with us in the new forms. With the fifth, we remember that our actions continue us into the future, and doing so, we touch our true nature of no birth and no death, no coming and no going, no sameness and no difference. Reciting the five remembrances regularly helps us apply the insight of emptiness, silenceness, aimlessness, and impermanence in our daily life. Applied insight. Antoine Laurent Lavoisier, the father of modern chemistry, is the French scientist who discovered that nothing is created. Nothing destroyed, everything is in transformation. I sometimes wonder if Lavoisier were able to live his life in accordance with this truth. Lavoisier lived in the time of the French Revolution, and at the age of 50 he was killed at the guillotine. He had a wonderful wife who loved him very much and became a scientist too. But I wonder if Lavoisier, who had this deep insight that nothing can be destroyed, was afraid of dying the day he walked up to the guillotine. The insight discovery that Lavoisier made in his lifetime continue to resonate to this day. So Lavoisier has not died. His wisdom is still there. His continue in new forms. When we say that nothing is created, nothing destroyed, everything transformed, this also applies to our body, to your feeling, your perceptions, your mental formations, your consciousness. Impermanence and no self. When you touch impermanence deeply, you touch yourself. Impermanence and yourself are not two different things. In terms of time, it's impermanence, and in terms of space, it's no self, emptiness, interbeing. They are different words, but they are the same thing. The deeper we understand impermanence, the deeper we can understand the teaching on no self and interbeing. Impermanence is now describing the nature of something, whether it's a flower, a star, your loved one, or your own body. But we shouldn't think that impermanence happens only to the outer appearance, and that inside there's something everlasting. Impermanence means that nothing can remain the same thing in two consecutive moments. So in fact, there's no lasting thing that we can call impermanent. It's semantically absurd to say everything is impermanent, yes. The truth is that everything is only for one brief instant. Suppose we contemplate the flickering flame of a candle. At first, it seems that there is one continuous flame, but in fact, that we are seeing is a multitude of flames succeeding each other from 1 millisecond to the next. New flames are manifesting from new non-flame elements, including oxygen and fuel. And the flame is radiating light and heat in all directions. Input and output are going on all the time. The flame we see now is not exactly the same as the flame we saw a moment ago, nor it is entirely different. In the same way, we are too always changing. Our body, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness are changing from one moment to the next. Every moment, the sound in our body, as well as our feeling, perception, idea, and state of mind, are giving way to new ones. I remember one time during a retreat we led in Germany, a young couple got married. The next day, I suggested they ask each other, "My dear, are you the same person I married yesterday, or are you different? Because according to impermanence, we change from one day to the next. We're not exactly the same person, but we are not exactly a different person either. The me yesterday is different from the me today. When we fall in love, we had a tendency to want to grasp and keep hold of the one we love. We want them to stay the same forever, and we want them to love us forever. Today, they say we're attractive and they love us, but tomorrow will they still say, I love you? When we love someone, we're always afraid of losing them. Our minds always wanting to hold on to something permanent, something everlasting. We want to stay a certain way and we want our loved one to stay a certain way, but that's not possible. We are both changing all the time, and when we can embrace impermanence, we allow each other to change and grow. From one day to the next, we are neither the same nor different, and this is good news. And this moment, you are new and your loved one is new, and that is why you are both free. Watering seeds. When we are aware that our loved one is not separate self but a composition of many elements, we can water the positive elements in them to help them grow. This is true for ourselves as well. We can practice watering the seeds in us that we want to grow and transform. Our mind is like a garden in which there are all kinds of seeds. Seed of joy, peace, mindfulness, understanding, love, but also seeds of craving, anger, fear, hate, and forgetfulness. How you act and the quality of your life depends on what seeds you water. If you plant tomato seeds in your garden, tomatoes will grow. In the same way, if you water a seed of peace in your mind, peace will grow. When the seed of happiness in you is water, your happiness will bloom. When the seed of anger in you is water, you will become angry. The seed that our water frequently will grow strong, so you need to be mindful gardener, selectively watering those seeds you would like to cultivate and not watering the seeds you do not want to grow. Each one of us has for our strengths and weaknesses. We might think, I have a short temper, or I'm a good friend, I'm a good listener. We believe this quality defines us. But they do not belong to us alone. They belong to the whole stream of our inheritance. When we say that we are made of non-us elements, it is much easier to accept all our good qualities as well as weaknesses and shortcomings with understanding and compassion. When you are in a committed relationship, you have two gardens, your gardens and the gardens of your beloved. First, you have to take care of your garden and master the art of gardening. And each one of us, there are flowers and there is also garbage. The garbage is the anger, fear, discrimination, and jealousy within. If you water the garbage, you will strengthen the negative seed. If you water the flowers of compassion, understanding, and love, you will strengthen the positive seeds. What you grow is up to you. If you don't know how to practice selective watering in your own garden, then you won't have enough wisdom to help water the flowers in the garden of your beloved. In cultivating your own garden well, you also have to cultivate your beloved gardens. Even a week of practice can make a big difference. Everyone can do this. We all need to practice like this in order to keep our relationship alive. Every time you practice walking mindfully, investing your mind and body in every step, you have to cultivate the peace, joy, and freedom you need. Every time you breathe in and know you are breathing in, every time you breathe out and smile to your out breath, you become who you truly are. You become your own master, the gardener of your own garden. Take good care of your garden so that you have your beloved take good care of theirs. If you are in a difficult relationship and you want to make peace with the other person, you have to go home to yourself first. You have to go home to your garden and cultivate the flower of peace, compassion, gratitude, understanding, and joy. Only when can you come to the other person and offer patience, acceptance, understanding, and compassion. When you commit to another person, you make a promise to grow together. It is your responsibility to take care of each other, yet over time you may encounter difficulties and you may begin to neglect your garden. One morning you may wake up and suddenly realize that your garden is overgrown with weeds and that light has faded from your love. It's never too late to do something about it. Your love is still there and the person you fell in love with is still there, but your garden is in need of some attention.